Now,
Grand Rising, Elizabeth. This is the Elizabeth. I'm so into the conference right now, which is next weekend. Who might listen after? Our conference is next Friday and Saturday, so that's like what's right there in the forefront for me. So I just want to welcome you today to our show. Today is May the 4th, 2023. And we're going to continue. We're going back a little bit. We're going to continue to read, listen to, and discuss what the bleep are we doing here. We started last week, and we're going to continue to listen and pull out little nuggets from that jewel from some years ago. And yeah, we got a lot out of it last week, and we only listened to a little bit. So we're going to listen to a little bit more and discuss it. And let's get started.
Let's get this party started.
And this is the Grand Rising Elizabeth Show. I hope the sound works.
Yeah, me too. We spent an hour last night.
Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah, well, it was grading last night, boy.
Yeah, mine is doing it too. It's really strong this time. With the computer action. No, he's not talking.
Rock comes flying along and interacts with this fuzzy mass of stuff, and
can you hear
sure
it?
enough, it provokes it into a particular state of existence.
And there were philosophers in the past that said, look, if I kick a rock and I hurt my toe, that's real. You know, I feel that, it feels real, it's vivid, and that means that it's reality. But it's still an experience, and it's still this person's perception of it being real.
Scientific experiments have shown that if we take a person and hook their brains up to certain PET scans or computer technology and ask them to look at a certain object, and they watch certain areas of the brain light up, and then they've asked them to close their eyes and now imagine that same object. And when they imagine that same object, it produced the same areas of the brain to light up as if they were actually visually looking at it. So it caused scientists to back up and ask this question. So who sees then? Does the brain see? Or do the eyes see? And what is reality? Is reality what we're seeing with our brain? Or is reality what we're seeing with our eyes? And the truth is that the brain does not know the difference between what it sees in its environment and what it remembers, because the same specific neural nets are then firing. So then it asks the question, what is reality?
We're bombarded by huge amounts of information, and it's coming into our body, and we're processing it, coming in through our sense organs. It's percolating up, and at each step we're eliminating information. And finally, what is bubbling up to consciousness is the one that's the most self-serving.
The brain processes 400 billion bits of information a second, but we're only aware of 2,000 of those. But our awareness of those 2,000 bits of information are just about the environment, our body, and about time.
We're living in a world where all we see is the tip of the iceberg. The classical tip of an immense quantum mechanical iceberg.
Hey, wow! You got a lot of shots to develop?
No.
Oh, bummer. Well, I'll catch you later.
If the brain is processing 400 billion bits of information, and then our awareness is only on 2,000, that means reality is happening in the brain all the time. It's receiving that information, and yet we haven't integrated it.
The eyes are like the lens, but the tape that's really seeing is the back of the brain. It's called the visual cortex. It's right back here. It's like this camera and it's tape. Did you know that the brain imprints what it has the ability to see? Now, this is important. For example, this camera is seeing a lot more around me than what is here, because it has no objection and no judgment. The only movie that's playing in the brain is what we have the ability to see. So is it possible our eyes, our cameras see more than what our brain has the ability to consciously project?
Well, the way our brain is wired up, we only see what we believe is possible. We match patterns that already exist within ourselves through conditioning. So a wonderful story that I believe is true is that when the Indians, the Native American Indians on the Caribbean islands, saw Columbus's ships approaching, they couldn't see them at all because it was so unlike anything they had ever seen before. They couldn't see it.
When Columbus's armada landed in the Caribbean, none of the natives were able to see the ships, even though they existed on the horizon. The reason that they never saw the ships was because they had no knowledge in their brains or no experience that clipper ships existed. So the shaman starts to notice that there's ripples out in the ocean, but he sees no ship, but he starts to wonder what's causing the effect. So every day he goes out and looks and looks and looks, and after a period of time, he's able to see the ships. And once he sees the ships, he tells everybody else that ships exist out there because everybody trusted and believed in him. They saw them also. We create reality. We're reality-producing machines. We create the effects of reality all the time.
Hey, Sheila, pause it right here for 1 second.
We all...
Okay, let's talk about this section right here. This is really good because like if I break it down piece by piece, I can get more of it than looking at the whole thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this particular piece was like about what you see, the difference between what the eye see and what the brain sees. And the brain sees, was it less or more than the eyes? I think it's the brain sees more than the eye see. Right? And yeah, that's really deep about that part. And that if a lot of times because we can't see something, we don't think that it exists or that it's real, just because we can't see it. And as soon as I heard that, I went, oh, that's the lesson. I don't know what anything is for. And I don't perceive in my own best interest because we don't see it. Wow, that's really good. What did you guys hear in that?
Oh, down here. Oh, no, okay, I just signed it.
Anybody else?
So in other words, you're saying it's sort of the way we're conditioned to believe it after we see it.
Yes. And because we don't see it, don't mean it's not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But once we start believing before we see.
Yes. Mostly people think we're crazy if we do that. Those are people who have a vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have a vision. They go, how you gonna do that? I don't see that happening. Because they don't have the same, they don't see what you see as impossible. right? Because possibilities are infinite,
Right,
right?
right.
It
Right?
really struck me that that the Native Americans, because they had never seen Clipper
Yes.
ships,
Yes.
even though they were coming and they were on the horizon, because
Yes.
they didn't see, because they'd never seen it before, they didn't see it.
Yes.
That's really mind blowing, that something can be right in your face, and because you've never seen it, because you've
Yes.
never experienced it, you don't
Yes.
see it.
Yes. But now check how deep being a shaman is and in tune spiritually. He knew the waves were different.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He knew so he came out there every day. Like, what's causing these waves to be different? This is
Yeah.
not how the waves work. Very profound.
Very profound.
So
That's
it's like and being in anticipation. You know, something's different. The air, the water, the breeze, the sound.
Yes.
You know, because God never just surprises. There's always a forewarning.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean it's good or bad or indifferent. It's just a forewarning. You know something. By the fact you're taking in another breath. There's another. There's a.
Yes, it's always coming forth.
Yeah, and every time I breathe, something else happened. My
Yes.
husband moved. Pam did this.
Yep.
Did one more curl, twist on your curl. Something is happening in every single moment, and just living in anticipation instead of being stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good too. That's really good. Anybody else before we go on? And that first blonde lady, I had talked about her last week. I couldn't remember her name. Her name is Seth. She was a channeler.
I thought that was the one you were talking about.
Yeah, that was Seth. But she gonna get deeper as we go on. But okay, could you hit the button? Let's go. Let's see some more.
Always perceive something after reflection in the mirror of memory.
As far as whether or not we're just living in a big holodeck or not, it's a question that we don't necessarily have a good answer to. I think this is a big philosophical problem that we have to deal with in terms of what science can say about our world, because we are always the observer in science. So we are still always constrained by what is ultimately coming into the human brain that allows us to see and perceive the things that we do. So it is conceivable that all of this really is just a great illusion that we have no way of really getting outside of to see what is really out there.
Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's taking place out there and what's taking place in here.
There is no out there, independent of what's going on in here.
You okay? I heard you scream earlier. Was it another dream? You were an Indian, watching Columbus's ship materialize out of thin air. Wow. And this medicine man kept hitting you. Cool. Hey, maybe it was a past life or a parallel reality or a future life. Tecrecia. Or maybe that dream was trying to tell you the truth. I guess it just depends on what you think is real. Maybe you should try different anxiety pills. My pills are fine, okay? Thank you. Well, I have to go get dressed. I hope you feel better, Amanda.
God, Amanda, I could be such an asshole.
That's how I feel sometimes when I'm in that mode, like what she's in, that whatever somebody's saying or doing, my mind is like where she is, like just being an asshole. And then I'm like, why do you do that? You know, there's that inquiry going on, and then I release it, forgive and all that stuff and move on. But yeah, it's like, God, why you have to be such an asshole? Yeah. Because I ain't gonna fool myself. I can't fool myself.
You muted, Rev.
Listen, the thing that was said before there is, this is so Course in Miracles, like how my thing is converging now. There is no out there. So we talked about a lot last night. There is no out there, independent from what's in here. Right? So just now, okay, so I'm sitting here watching her, and then she was like, oh, Amanda's such an asshole. And I'm going, okay, she talking about herself, because, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going, what if, that's the shift right there. What if I took responsibility for everything that I was thinking and it was coming out of my mouth? And knowing that if I had any judgment or condemnation, I was only talking about myself. Oh, I just heard, yeah, because I'd have to relate to what I'm talking about, like a occurring world, not an is that way. She occurs that way, or they, whatever I'm dealing with, they occur that way. It's an occurring world and not a is world, because who she is a perfect child. Oh my God, thank you, God. Perfect child of God, whole and complete, not she occurs a particular way, but not is that way. And so I just got to say this, I don't care what people say, language is critical. Because how you speak something actually is going to give something back to you. Because if somebody pisses me off and I go that they are that way, that makes them fixed rather than that they occur that way. Because then I can get the occurring world over there and the occurring world over here. Because how is it occurring for me that I think that over there? Right? Yeah, it's an occurring where it seems that it's that way, but because we don't know, the brain is saying one thing and the eyes are saying another thing. So it's a seeming, an occurring, like the reality. Oh, that's really good. Okay, I need to be reminded of that. Okay, we can keep going. That's good.
There actually are choices in the direction of how a life can go that are contingent upon small level quantum effects not being washed out.
First of all, let's talk about the subatomic world, and then we'll talk about what it's telling us about reality. The first thing I want to tell you about the subatomic world is it's totally a fantasy created by mad physicists trying to figure out what the heck is going on when they do these little experiments. By little experiments, I mean big energy in little spaces and little pieces of time. It gets pretty nutty at that realm of things. And so subatomic physics was invented to try to figure that all out. We need a new science down there. It's called quantum physics, and it is subject to a whole range of debatable hypotheses, thoughts, feelings, intuitions as to what the heck is really going on.
Matter is not what we have long thought it to be. To the scientist, matter has always been thought of as sort of the ultimate in that which is static and predictable.
Within all the atoms and molecules, all the space within the particles take up an insignificant amount of the volume of an atom or molecule, the fundamental particles. The rest of it is vacuum.
What seems to happen is that particles appear and disappear all the time. So where do they go when they're not here? Now, that question is tricky. I'm going to give you two answers. Answer number one, they go into an alternative universe where the people in that universe are asking the same question about those particles when they come into our universe. They say, where do they go?
There's a great mystery called the mystery of the direction of time. There's a certain sense in which the fundamental laws of physics that we have don't make any interesting distinction, say, between past and future. For example, it's a puzzle from the standpoint of the fundamental laws of physics. Why we should be able to remember the past and not have the same kind of epistemic access to the future. It's a puzzle from the standpoint of these laws, why we should think something like, by acting now, we can affect the future but not the past. These things, that we have a different kind of epistemic access to the past and the future, that we have a different kind of control by acting now over the future than we do over the past. These things are so fundamental to the way we experience the world that that it seems to me not to be curious about them is to be, 3/4 of the way to being dead.
Want to shoot some hoops? No, you don't have to be like that. Come on and play. Look, he likes you. Don't you have time for a little one-on-one? How long has it been since you played? Come on, you got the ball. Take a shot. No, my lady, not from there. It's out of bounds. Gotta be on the court to be in play. Welcome to Duke Reginald's court of unending possibilities. Gotta sink the last one.
They're hung.
It never touched you.
Right.
And it's not solid. This ball is mostly empty.
In fact, the universe is mostly empty.
We like to think of space as empty and matter as solid. But in fact, there is essentially nothing to matter whatsoever. It's completely insubstantial. Take a look at an atom. We think of it as a kind of hard ball. Then we say, oh, well, no, not really. It's this little tiny point of really dense matter right at the center, surrounded by a kind of fluffy probability cloud of electrons popping in and out of existence. But then it turns out that that's not even right. Even the nucleus, which we think of as so dense, pops in and out of existence just as readily as the electrons do. The most solid thing you can say about all this insubstantial matter is that it's more like a thought. It's like a concentrated bit of information.
What makes up things are not more things, but what makes up things are ideas, concepts, information.
And like I said, it never touches. Those electrons build up a charge and push the other electrons away before they touch. So nobody touches nothing. Come on, put your stuff down. Nobody's gonna take it. Like I said, this is my court. It's no problem. How long has it been?
I'd be 8.
It's only in conscious experience that it seems that we move forward in time. In quantum theory, you can also go backwards in time.
You can always go back in time. What's the matter? Remember, it's empty.
How do you know this yet?
I read Dr. Quantum comics. Everybody thinks it's just kid stuff, but I know it's real. That's how I do my magic on the court.
Yeah, I always choose the Wonder Boy first. He's got the weirding way.
Well, Dr. Quantum says everybody's got it. Everybody's doing it constantly, each and every time you look.
When you ain't looking, it's like a wave. When you are looking, it's like a particle.
When you are not looking, there are waves of possibility. When you are looking, then there are particles of experience.
A particle, which we think of as a solid thing, really exists in a so-called superposition, a spread out wave of possible locations. And it's in all of those at once. The instant you check on it, it snaps into just one of those possible positions.
Quantum superposition implies that a particle can be in two or more places or states simultaneously. And this is a very bizarre concept and one of the hallmarks of the quantum world.
Superheroes use superposition, with the world being potential strips of reality. Until we choose. Heroes choose what they want. Being in many places at once, experiencing many possibilities all at once, and then collapsing on the one. The question is, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Shot.
How can a system or an object be in two or more states at the same time?
It's very easy. Instead of thinking of things as things, we all have a habit of thinking that everything around us is already a thing, existing without my input, without my choice. You have to banish that kind of thinking. Instead, you really have to recognize that even the material world around us, the chairs, the tables, the rooms, the carpet, camera included. All of these are nothing but possible movements of consciousness. And I'm choosing moment to moment out of those movements to bring my actual experience into manifestation. This is the only radical thinking that you need to do. But it is so radical, it's so difficult, because our tendency is that the world is already out there, independent of my experience. It is not. Quantum physics has been so clear about it. Heisenberg himself, co-discoverer of quantum physics, said atoms are not things. They are only tendencies. So.
Oh yeah, that's so good. Stop right there. That's so good.
Yeah, because just want to talk about the you know, how you're seeing when she focused on when she focused, then it was only one ball. When it wasn't, when there was the capability of anything.
Yeah.
It was abundance. Everything was there until she focused. Then she saw that one.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what really, okay, so I don't know why I'm getting so excited. I'm on 10 already. Okay. Everybody who just joined, we are pressing into shifting our consciousness around abundance and what's in our world. Mm-hmm. Right. So I just want to so the conversation I'm out to bring into the world with the people that I meet and greet is the conversation for wealth consciousness. So that's what I'm focused on, right? And spirituality, right? And manifestation. Those are my, I was thinking about the other day. It's like, basically, that's all I want to talk about. I don't want to chit chat with you. Listen, how are we going to make this happen? Like, see things differently, right? So for Grand Rising, Mama Head, Lolly, Alita, Ebony, I just want to say Grand Rising to you guys. And so when I was in council with Holy Spirit, I'm like, okay, so this is a group of people, like the people who are in my circle, they get a little taste of it. Then they start doing vision boards with me and they start getting a little more taste of it and we start getting geeked. So it's like I'm building more momentum. So when I asked the Holy Spirit, where do you start? And it was like, go back to what the bleep, because that was my first opening into consciousness and something different what had other things I was doing, like landmark and being a Buddhist. Those things opened me up too. So I continued to evolve. But this particular movie, What the Bleep was the first one. And then after that, it was A Secret, and then it's gone on from there. Right. So this is a opportunity for all of us who are Elizabeths to get on the same page and start to really be willing to take on seeing things differently. So that's what we're doing. So we're just going to watch this movie and stop it at different places and discuss it and talk about what we're hearing so far. So since she stopped it right here, anything anybody want to say about what they've heard so far?
I want to say that I saw What the Bleep. I actually have a physical copy of the CD. I don't have a CD player. And What the Bleep, then The Secret. And now I'm really understanding what it's saying. I got it on a superficial level when I first heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then ego completely forgot it. And so now I'm understanding more.
Yeah, because I don't even because I don't even remember this part. Okay. Like I forgot it already. So it's like I'm very excited to hear it again because now I'm hearing it newly and from a different point from all the work I've done so far. So I'm right with you right there, Evelyn. I'm right with you. It's a great review. I'm actually very excited about it because to put it together with what I know, what I've learned since then, now it's like, I've done some reading about quantum physics, and I've done some reading about the atom and how it can change. Like if you start to look at it differently, it will actually change the way it's moving. You know what I mean? Like you can be in Detroit and you have the twin atoms and take one of the atoms and take it to California. If the atom in Detroit shift, the atom in California shift too. Like for you to really you have that ability to shift something through your thoughts. Right. So that's very exciting to really, right. And then like to get excited about, okay, no matter what's going on in my life, it's just occurring, like I was saying before, because whatever's happening in my life that I don't really agree with or want something different, all I have to do is start to think about it differently. I can even hear how we can have like the vision of what we want to have at the Elizabeth conference and how we want it to look and how we want it to be, that and it'll actually turn out that way and better. And Sheila, that comes from the outcome that you and I created, right? And when you create an outcome, you have to enroll everybody who's in that. You have to enroll them to be in that same outcome with you. Because, this is so freaking exciting for me. Okay. Right, because, at Landmark Education, I was the registration manager, and that's all it was. I write down, I want to have 10 registrations today. Okay, that's my intention. And I want my day to be filled with joy, connection, and commitment. That's what I'm playing today. And that's where I would have conversations with people from. Just that. Right. And it would happen, like people go, how you do that? I'd be out of the clear blue sky. Right. But it wouldn't be out of the clear blue sky. It's because I had my intention on something particular. And so I'm really happy to be reminded of that again. Yes, very powerful, really. Because if you really listen to everybody who's talking about this kind of work, now everybody's like, you don't have to do nothing. All you got to do is set your intention and then do your day. Set your intention and then do your day. And your intention will start to come to you when you become very powerful in that, making that connection. Right? Okay, so it's like, these are set your intention and then do your day, but it's like set your intention and these are the actions I want to step into. And then set your intention, these are the actions I need to do today, and then go forth to do what you said you wanted to do today. That's it. Very powerful. So anybody want to say anything before we go back into the movie? Okay, Ebony, it'll take everything that you do into another level. Set your intention every day, set what actions you need to take, and then be that intention and go about doing your actions, and things will just start to move. Right? Really good. Anybody else? Okay, Sheila, we can start again. Sheila writing. Okay, y'all, we gotta wait for her to go writing. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was like, do your day. Take these are these are the actions needed to.
Yeah, you're right. Who you gonna be today, and then what actions you gonna take out of who you're being that day. That's the key to the whole thing. And it's the easiest thing to forget.
And any of you, just yell if you want me to stop to go over something. Just let us know. Okay.
Let's go.
So instead of thinking of things, you have to think of possibilities. They're all possibilities of consciousness.
You now can see in numerous labs around the United States objects that are large enough to be seen by the naked eye, and they are in two places simultaneously. And you can actually take a photograph of that. Now, I suppose if you showed a photograph, they'd say, oh, great, here's this nice blob of colored light, and I see there's a bit of it over here, and another bit of it. So you got a picture of two dots. What's the big deal? And if so, well, look right in the chamber. You can see it right there. Oh, I see two things there. You say, no, that's not two things. That's one thing. It's the same thing in two places. I'm not sure that people's jaw would drop about it, because I don't think people really believe it. And I don't mean that people say, oh, you're lying, or, oh, the scientists are confused. I think it is so mysterious that you can't even understand how amazing it is. And then furthermore, you've seen Star Trek and whatnot. Beam me up, Scotty. So it all seems sort of, oh, well, what does that really mean? But you've got to really stop and think about what that means, that it's the same object and it's in two places at once. And people tinker in the lab and they get angry about things and they have lunch and they go home and they lead their lives just as though nothing utterly astounding is happening, because, of course, that's how you have to go about it. And yet there is this completely amazing magic sitting right in front of your eyes.
Quantum physics calculates only possibilities. But if we accept this, then the question immediately comes, what chooses among these possibilities to bring the actual event of experience? So we immediately see that consciousness must be involved. The observer cannot be ignored.
We know what an observer does from a point of view of quantum physics, but we don't know who or what the observer actually is. Doesn't mean we haven't tried to find an answer. We've looked. We've gone inside of your head. We've gone into every orifice you have to find something called an observer, and there's nobody home. There's nobody in the brain. There's nobody in the cortical regions of the brain. There's nobody in the subcortical regions or the limbic regions of the brain. There's nobody there called an observer. And yet we all had this experience of being something called an observer, observing the world out there.
Is this the observer, and which is so intricate to understanding the wacky, weird world of quantum particles and how they react? Is this, then, the observer?
In my modeling, the observer is the spirit inside the four-layered biobody suit. And so it's like the ghost in the machine. It is the consciousness that's driving the vehicle. And it is observing the surround. The four layers of the biobody suit have all kinds of sensory systems to pick up signatures from the surround.
God, there's no photographer. Where can she be? Aliens? Loch Ness Monster? A hot date?
In Washington, D.C., the so-called murder capital of the world, there was a big experiment in the summer of 1993 where 4,000 volunteers came from 100 countries to collectively meditate for long periods of time throughout the day. It was predicted in advance that with such a sized group, you would have a 25% drop in violent crime, as defined by the FBI, in Washington that summer. Well, the chief of police went on television saying that, look, it's going to take 2 feet of snow to reduce crime by 25% in Washington, D.C. this summer. But by the end, the police department became a collaborator and author of this study because the results, in fact, showed a 25% drop in violent crime in Washington, D.C., which we could predict on the basis of 48 previous studies that had already been done on a smaller scale.
This leads naturally to wonder, are people affecting the world of reality that they see? You betcha they are. Every single one of us affects the reality that we see, even if we try to hide from that and play victim. We all are doing it.
Just tell me where you are. Good. But hurry, will you, please, because these models are giving me a headache.
10 minutes.
Comes to us from Japan and Mr. Masuro Emoto. Mr. Emoto became terribly interested in the molecular structure of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the 4 elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and left them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown, except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
Absolutely, thought alone can completely change the body.
Most people don't affect reality in a consistent, substantial way because they don't believe they can. They write an intention and then they erase it because they think that's silly. I mean, I can't do that. And then they write it again and then they erase it. So time average, it's a very small effect. And it really comes down to the fact that they believe they can't do it.
If you accept with every rudiment of your being that you will walk on water, will it happen? Yes, it will. But you know, it's like positive thinking. It's a wonderful idea, positive thinking. But what it usually means is that I have a little smear of positive thinking covering a whole mass of negative thinking.
Okay, can you stop it right
thinking
there?
positive is not really thinking positive.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. What y'all hearing so far?
Hey, I'm hearing my thoughts. Every thought. Losing it. Every thought affects my body. So like the water experiment. So I always say thank you to my water before I drink it. When I take it out of the filter, I say thank you, I love you, and I drink it. So everything we eat or drink, everything we put on our body, in our body, give it the blessings and the goodwill, it will change when it enters us.
That's so deep because, you know, Black folks, you know, in the beginning, we had to eat the worst of the worst, but we always bless the food. So if you bless the food, no matter what it is, it like, oh, that's not good for me. Yeah, that's what you think. That's how it's going to go. But it's like, okay, this may not be the best, but I'm going to bless it and enjoy it to the most. Right? Like that piece right there, especially the water. How many people in here, just raise your hand, like bless their water or I'm taking the word bless out and I'm noticing how much I say it because bless is be less, right? I've heard that before. And so now I'm really going to take it up as one of those words I'm taking out of my vocabulary. So I'm replacing it with being favored, having favor, being highly favored, right? So how many people favor their water by speaking, you know, thoughts of high thinking over your water? Anybody? I'm like Evelyn, I do too. Right? Anybody else?
You know, I always try to bless the food. I don't think I've thought about blessing the water, which is crazy now that I think about it.
Mama's head right. Stay right. Love on their water. You love it. I write on my water bottle whatever I think I need at the time. Right? It could be love. It could be peace. It could be right. So yeah, Alita, start doing that. Anybody know? Heard about the hugging Saint Amma? She gave hugs. Well, she stopped doing hugs during COVID, but she would hug you. She would do. Oh my God, that's a long story I want to tell you, but because it takes too long. But she would come and she would do hugs from about 9 o'clock at night till about 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning. Thousands of us would be from Detroit would be here, and she would just, as long as people was out there to be hugged. Yeah, she been to Detroit. Like I went to see her. I went to see her 11 times. Right. My friend went to see her. I was going to be a minister at the time. And a bunch of my friends went to see her. But my one particular friend, she was all like uptight, like, you know, a tight kind of person. After she came back from seeing Amma, she was all open and bright. I'm like, what happened to you? Oh my God. So the next year we went and we started going every year after that, every time Amma would come to Detroit. So yeah, but Amma would always give us water that she blessed, right? Every year you would get these little cups of water that she blessed. And people like really wanted that water, you know, because they would put it on their plants. And, you know, how I stretched my water out was I put it in she gave us a little cup, but I would always put mine in a bigger gallon of water. So it would just, all the water that I drank from that container would be blessed. But it was something else that he said in here. He talked about the water. The other part when he talked about an observer, right? I've always considered myself a watcher because I'll come into a place and I'll just watch. I'll just observe what's going on. But I had the experience of one time my father was being super negative, just like saying every negative thing he could think about me. And it was so like painful. I couldn't take it anymore. So I sort of felt myself like step out of my body, right? Leave my body there, but step over here so I could watch what was going on. And it was very, very profound to be able to become an observer of a situation rather than being in it. I became an observer of it. And I've been using that practice ever since. If something really negative is going on, I'll remove myself and become an observer of it rather than being right in the center of it. So those are all like
rather than a victim.
Well, yeah, because if I'm observing it, I don't have anything to say about it. I'm just watching what's going on, going, whoo, that's something else.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't like affect me like that. Right. So so anybody else? There was something else. What was the last thing they talked about? It was the water. Anybody remember what was the last thing they started talking about?
I don't remember that at the moment, but I wanted to throw in that like Mama Evelyn was talking about blessing the water when it goes, before you take it in. I'd like to speak more on the that we are water. Such a high percentage of water that our thoughts are doing, just like we want to bless the water before it goes in. We walk around in water. We are water, and we need to be careful and more attentive to what we are saying on a continuous basis all day about ourselves, because when you you can see when you yourself or something in that day has switched your energy. So therefore the thoughts that are in now are poisonous and causing we snap out of that and start saying in a moment, in a twinkling, that can happen.
Okay, so that's what I was talking about, right? I just remember that he was saying I want to talk about when he was talking about how we have it was really like affirmations. We'll have I am love. That'll be that one little strip. But underneath that is all the things that you don't love about yourself. Right? That's why affirmations don't really work. You have to just write so many times, right? But because it's like if I go in there and I do mirror work a lot. If I go in there and look in the mirror and go, I am rich, rich, rich. There's a little voice there, girl, Dan. You see all them bills over there? Ain't no way. Right? So no matter how much I say that, because the reality of where I'm coming from is not that. It keeps not that in place. That's what I wanted to say. Right? So he's going to go on and say, like, it's more like an intention rather than an affirmation. Okay, that's the part I have forgotten about.
Okay, anyone else want to share before we continue?
It's just disguising the negative thinking that we have.
When we think of things, then we make the reality more concrete than it is. And that's where we become stuck. We become stuck in the sameness of reality. Because if reality is concrete, obviously I'm insignificant. I cannot really change it. But if reality is my possibility of consciousness itself, then immediately comes the question of how can I change it? How can I make it better? How can I make it happier? You see how we are extending the image of ourselves? In the old thinking, I cannot change anything because I don't have any role at all in reality. Reality is already there. It's material objects moving in their own way from deterministic laws. And mathematics determines what they will do in a given situation. I, the experiencer, have no role at all. In the new view, yes, mathematics can give us something. It gives us the possibilities that all these movements can assume, but it cannot give us the actual experience that I'll be having in my consciousness. I choose that experience. And therefore, literally, I create my own reality. It may sound like a tremendous bombastic claim by some new agey without any understanding of physics whatsoever, but really quantum physics is telling us that.
Your boss called. He's worried about you. Amanda, I want to thank you for letting me stay here. I know I'm a bit much sometimes and that it's been tough after Bob and all. And you've just been so wonderful. I mean, I make a mess and, well, I clean up afterwards, but it's not really your style.
Sometimes I think you make me sane.
Me? The day I make someone sane, they're in trouble. Anyway, I made you something as a thank you gift. Open it. I went through your pictures and picked my favorite ones. And it took me forever because there's so many good ones. This. That's for all the wonderful photos you will be taking. Oh.
I've had a strange day. Thank you.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
Have you ever thought about what thoughts are made of? Is there a substance of thought?
I guess it just depends on what you think is real.
The world being possible timelines of reality. Until we choose.
Are all realities in the quantum field existing simultaneously?
I definitely think an addiction is something real, something that you can't stop.
There literally are different worlds in which we live. There's the macroscopic world that we see. There's the world of our cells. There's the world of our atoms. There's the world of our nuclei. These are each totally different worlds. They have their own language. They have their own mathematics. They're not just smaller. Each is totally different. But they're complementary. Because I am my atoms. But I am also my cells. I'm also my macroscopic physiology. It's all true. They're just different levels of truth. The deepest level of truth uncovered by science and by philosophy is the fundamental truth of unity. At that deepest subnuclear level of our reality, you and I are literally one.
I wake up in the morning and I consciously create my day the way I want it to happen. Now, sometimes, because my mind is examining all the things that I need to get done, it takes me a little bit to settle down and get to the point of where I'm actually intentionally creating my day. But here's the thing, when I create my day, and out of nowhere, little things happen that are so unexplainable, I know that they are the process or the result of my creation. And the more I do that, the more I build a neural net in my brain that I accept that that's possible. Gives me the power and the incentive to do it the next day.
In addiction, we have a supreme, beautiful opportunity to decipher the difference between our intangibility of our nobleness of character and the day-to-day business of how that character is revealed in a three-dimensional world through our bodies.
Weddings.
And what we will learn is that addiction is the feeling of a chemical rush that is cascaded through the bodies through a whole assortment of glands and ductless glands and through the spinal fluid, a feeling that some would call a sexual fantasy. It only takes one sexual fantasy for a man to have a hard-on. In other words, it only takes one thought here for a man to have an erection in his member. And yet, there was nothing outside of him that gave him that. It was what was within him that gave him that.
Oh, hey, Amanda, I didn't know you were there. Guilty.
A wedding. Come on, blink.
This is a good assignment, if you'd see it that way.
What to see? I do. They did.
Oh, God, Amanda. I mean, you live in your past. I mean, everything with you is about what happened. You hate churches, you hate weddings, you hate guys. And I want you to go scope it out.
Don't need to. I got money there.
I know. I took the pictures, remember? You got too many memories clouding your vision. Oh, Amanda, you know you're the best technical photographer I have. And I want to have some great pictures. You know what? You need a good Polish wedding. And watch out for those good Catholic boys, huh?
You need the priest.
Come on, get out of here.
When I was younger, I had lots of ideas about what God was. And now I realize I'm not conscious enough to truly understand what that concept means.
That I am at one with the great being that made me and brought me here and that formed the galaxies and the universes, etc. How did that get taken out of religion? It was not hard. Most of the problems that religion and the various philosophical movements down through the centuries have produced have been errors because that's where they started. That God is a distinct, separate being from us, to whom I must offer worship, whom I must cultivate, humor, please, and hope to attain a reward from at the very end of my life. That is not what God is. That is a blasphemy.
God is such a broad thing, some parts of which, most of the parts of which that are associated with organized religion is something that I sort of recoil at and something that I think has done a lot of harm to the world, done harm to women, done harm to oppressed peoples, done harm to the World Trade Center.
And yet, at the same point, we have the epitome of a great science. The closest science has ever come to explaining Jesus' interpretation that the mustard seed was larger than the kingdom of heaven. And the only science that can fit into that analogy is quantum physics. Now, we have great technology, from anti-gravity magnets and magnetic fields of 0-point energy. We have all that, and we still have this ugly, superstitious, backwater concept of God.
People fall into line very readily when they're threatened by these cosmic sentences of everlasting punishment. But this is not how God is. And once you start to question the traditional images, caricatures of God, people feel you're an agnostic or an atheist or a subverter of the social order.
God must be greater than the greatest of human weaknesses, and indeed, the greatness of human skill, that God must even transcend a most remarkable to emulate nature in its absolute splendor. How can any man or woman sin against such a greatness of mind? How can any one little carbon unit on Earth, in the backwaters of, indeed, the Milky Way, the boondocks, betray God Almighty? That is impossible. The height of arrogance is the height of control of those who create God in their own image.
I now present to you Mr. and Mrs. Richard Buck Filipowski.
Rain, when it fires its thoughts, is likened unto the landscape of a thundercloud. And the synaptic cleft is the sky between the storm and the earth receptor site. And you see this foreboding dark cloud boiling in the sky. And you see electrical impulses moving through it, veins of electric light, and then you see it hit the ground. Rain looks like a thunderstorm when it is presenting a coherent thought. So no one has ever seen the thought. What they do see in neurophysics is that they see a storm raging around different quadrants of the brain. Those are areas that are mapped in the body and what the person must be responding to. A holographic image. Rage, murder, hate, compassion, love.
The brain does not know the difference between what it sees in its environment and what it remembers, because the same specific neural nets are then firing. The brain is made up of tiny nerve cells called neurons. These neurons have tiny branches that reach out and connect to other neurons to form a neural net. Each place where they connect is integrated into a thought or a memory. Now, the brain builds up all its concepts by the law of associative memory. For example, ideas, thoughts, and feelings are all constructed and interconnected in this neural net, and all have a possible relationship with one another. The concept and the feeling of love, for instance, is stored in this vast neural net. But we build the concept of love from many other different ideas. Some people have love connected to disappointment. When they think about love, they experience the memory of pain, sorrow, anger, and even rage. Rage may be linked to hurt, which may be linked to a specific person, which then is connected back to love.
We build up models of how we see the world outside of us. And the more information that we have, the more we refine our model one way or another. And what we ultimately do is tell ourselves a story about what the outside world is. Any information that we process, any information that we take in from the environment is always colored by the experiences that we've had and an emotional response that we're having to what we're bringing in.
Who is in the driver's seat when we control our emotions or we respond to our emotions? We know physiologically that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you practice something over and over again, those nerve cells have a long-term relationship. If you get angry on a daily basis, if you get frustrated on a daily basis, if you suffer on a daily basis, if you give reasons for the victimization in your life, you're rewiring and reintegrating that neural net on a daily basis, and that neural net now has a long-term relationship with all those other nerve cells called an identity. We also know that nerve cells that don't fire together no longer wire together. They lose their long-term relationship because every time we interrupt the thought process that produces a chemical response in the body, every time we interrupt it, those nerve cells that are connected to each other start breaking the long-term relationship. When we start interrupting and observing, not by stimulus and response and that automatic reaction, but by observing the effects it takes, then we are no longer the body, mind, conscious, emotional person that's responding to its environment as if it is automatic. Does that mean emotions are good or emotions are bad? No, emotions are designed so that it reinforces chemically something into long-term memory. That's why we have them.
All emotion is holographically imprinted chemicals.
The most sophisticated pharmacy in the universe is in here.
There's a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is like a little mini factory, and it is a place that assembles certain chemicals that match certain emotions that we experience. Those particular chemicals are called peptides. They're small chain amino acid sequences. The body's basically a carbon unit that makes about 20 different amino acids all together to formulate its physical structure. The body is a protein-producing machine. In the hypothalamus, we take small chain proteins called peptides, and we assemble them into certain neuropeptides or neurohormones that match the emotional states that we experience on a daily basis. So there's chemicals for anger, and there's chemicals for sadness, and there's chemicals for victimization. There's chemicals for lust. There's a chemical that matches every emotional state that we experience. And the moment that we experience that emotional state in our body or in our brain, that hypothalamus will immediately assemble the peptide that then releases it through the pituitary into the bloodstream. The moment it makes it into the bloodstream, it finds its way to different centers or different parts of the body. Now, every single cell in the body has these receptors on the outside.
And one cell can have thousands of receptors studding its surface, kind of opening up to the outside world. And when a peptide docks on a cell, it literally, like a key going into a lock, sits on the receptor surface and attaches to it and kind of moves the receptor, and kind of like a doorbell buzzing, sends a signal into the cell.
It's party time!
What happens in adulthood is that most of us who've had our glitches along the way are operating in an emotionally detached place, or we're operating as if today were yesterday.
What is it?
Mixed.
in either the disconnected place or the overly emotional reactive place because they've gone to an earlier time in reality, the person is not operating as an integrated whole.
Along the outside of the cell are these billions of receptor sites that are really just receivers of incoming information.
A receptor that has a peptide sitting in it changes the cell in many ways. It sets off a whole cascade of biochemical events, some of which wind up with changes in the actual nucleus of the cell.
Hi, when I grew up, I wanted to become a photographer just like you. Oh. Got any tips?
Take that picture.
Thanks.
Each cell is definitely alive, and each cell has a consciousness, particularly if we define consciousness as the point of view of an observer. There is always the perspective of the cell.
A few years later.
In fact, the cell is the smallest unit of consciousness in the body.
I'm hungry.
Oh yeah! We've commandeered an entire serving platter! Yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming! Yeah! Oh yeah!
Well, my definition of an addiction is something really simple. Something that you can't stop.
Oh, make me suffer, please. You wanna hurt?
We bring to ourselves situations that will fulfill the biochemical craving of the cells of our body by creating situations that meet our chemical needs.
It always happens to me. Every day.
An addict will always need a little bit more in order to get a rush or a high of what they're looking for chemically.
Don't tell me to calm down. You're always bossing me around.
So my definition really means that if you can't control your emotional state, you must be addicted to it.
Oh, I knew this was gonna happen. That's not what we agreed upon. You're not going to screw me.
Let's read the contract,
You
dear.
won't do anything about it, so I
No,
will.
ma'am. Don't dip your half-eaten shrimp back into the cocktail sauce.
Screw you and your health codes. I am the bride's sister. I'll stick my ass in the cocktail sauce if I damn well please.
Come on. I want you to get out there and serve and make sure everybody has a good laugh. Fun, fun, fun. Listen, you won't do anything about it, so you won't do
Just like
What is reality? What is the real?
So how can anyone really say they're in love with a specific person, for example? They're only in love with the anticipation of the emotions they're addicted to. Because the same person could fall out of favor the next week by not complying. My goodness, doesn't that change the landscape of our emotional outlook on personal needs and identities?
Oh yeah! Come here!
No. You got the punchline wrong. It's a photographer's joke. Go on about your music? Are you okay?
Right, I thought that could have been some girl.
When?
Just now.
I was with the groom.
Hey, I could read it.
I'm sorry. I was with the groom just now. Yeah, he loves Paulette. Where? Polacks, they all look the same in a tux. You're not Polish. Hi. Thanks. Here. This will help.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. That was in my mouth. Forget it.
So, what's your name?
Elliot. Hi.
Yeah.
It's
I'm Amanda.
Hey, Amanda. I should have asked you what your name. You photograph a lot of weddings?
Yeah, I hate it.
I'm doing the thing again with my hands. I'm sorry.
We are emotions, and emotions are us. Again, I can't separate emotions. When you consider that every aspect of your digestion, every sphincter that opens and closes, every group of cells that come in for nourishment and then moves out to heal something or repair something, those are all under the influence of the molecules of emotion. I mean, it's this total buzz.
So you ask if emotions are bad. Emotions are not bad. They're life. They color the richness of our experience. It's our addiction that's the problem. The thing that most people don't realize is that when they understand that they are addicted to emotions...
Another drink?
It's not just psychological. It's biochemical. Think about this. Heroin uses the same receptor mechanisms on the cells that our emotional chemicals use. It's easy to see then that if we can be addicted to heroin, then we can be addicted to any neuropeptide, any emotion.
To the groom!
To the groom.
Woo.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Hello. What do we need?
Some boxes. Put out. Yeah, baby.
So,
The relevant search command that's going on is related to finding a certain emotional state. I mean, we can't even direct our eyes without having an emotional aspect to it.
Oh, gosh. She wouldn't fall for me.
Oh, mama! Woo! What the hell are you waiting for? Come on, you little pussies! Jeez, I can't believe you guys! What are you? Ooh, come on, just get the hell out of the way! Hi there, honey! Come on, baby, you know you want it. Oh, don't give me that look.
What about people who are addicted to sex?
big boy.
Is there a rocket in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Step out of it! Over here!
I want to hear something. Hold on, touch anything. It's very expensive equipment, all right? I want to hear some polka music, okay? I'm gonna play These people want to hear some. I know they're gonna play some.
You can't have a Polish wedding without polka music!
No, would you leave it alone? Keep your.
How can you have a Polish wedding without any Polish music?
Hands off my equipment!
Like I said before, it ain't a Polish wedding without a polka!
I wanted to see if anybody has any comments on that. I know that I checked to see if Star was watching because she watches that all the time. And at this particular party, she always has some comments on her understanding of that, what she gets out of that. And I wanted to see if Star, if you mind sharing your summation of that.
I was thinking about where they talked about the clouding of the mind because it's too much up there that you haven't let go of. And that's what happened to me when I found that lump. in my breasts. It was too much up there, too cloudy. There was no room for me to handle anything else. So I had to let that go because I couldn't handle it. There was no space until I got rid of some things and it was able to come in and I was able to handle it. And so the one thing that, and I even did this at Anita's cancer thing when I gave my testimony, that holding on to stuff is not more important than your sanity. It's nothing is worth it at all. Not letting go of. If it does not give you peace, if it disturbs your love, it's not worth it. Let it go. And that's what I have to say.
So that is that in relation to why she didn't want to go to the party because she had so much attachment to her wedding? Is that where you're speaking from?
Yes, and it took her down a spiral tunnel that really messed her up because that's all she saw. It's like me and my mother. She had she was a single parent of 6 kids, which is why I don't have any children because I saw the struggle she went through. But what I didn't see was that it didn't happen. It didn't have to happen to me. What she went through. All I saw was what she went through and the negativity behind it. I didn't see anything positive from it. And that's what she's going through. She don't see anything positive about anything because all she sees is the cloud covering her eyes and her mind from what happened to her.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because we were raised by the same woman, and I didn't see the struggle like the way you saw it. Yeah.
And see, I say that we shouldn't take things personal because you can be having a conversation with somebody and you don't know where they are in their mind, in their consciousness. You could say something that's the straw and you have no idea what is happening. And we were having a conversation last night in the class where they talk about, all I can say is that when I leave somebody disempowered, I cannot move on until I go and either apologize or minister to them or something, because that's my brother, my sister, and I left them disempowered. And that's not, how can I go, and even you said this not long ago, Queen, how can I go and talk to God and be with God and be in God? And I left this person like that. So I got to go do something because I can't move on if they can't. Yeah, did I answer your question?
You said what was on your heart. Yeah. And probably the reason I didn't see it the way you saw it was because well, one, I'm different. And the other is that I was more in partnership with Mama, being that she was a single mom. So my relationship with the whole thing was to help her, as I saw like Aunt Edie come in and help and Uncle Jimmy come in and help. Then me being the elder, then of course I had responsibilities of that you guys didn't have, the 4 up under me. Yeah. So I mean, I saw the struggle. I just saw it in a different way and didn't make come to the conclusions about, not wanting children and all that stuff. And that's just us being individuals. But what I saw in the what I saw in the movie, and we've talked about this several times, Star, about how you get addicted to something. You're just addicted to it, and you don't even know that you're addicted to it. You just think that, okay, so I don't know that I'm addicted to it. So I just think that it's just part of how I am. It's how I process things, which is true. But it doesn't have to continue like that. Once you zoom in on it and say, oh my God, I do that. I do that. And are able to release, there is, where you saw her freedom. Once those things that was running around her feet and stuff, and him, and just seeing everybody do what they do. Yeah. Yeah, until you do, if you bring it, and when she brought that to the whole party. Each one of them brought it to the party. So all of them extra beings, ways of being, were in the party doing their thing, and how she was seeing somebody else. She saw herself and her husband making love in the back room and stuff, and that's all she saw. It wasn't even them. How much do we see that is not real? As I'm about to call you a bishop, as as Rev said, about how things occur to us is, it's just
different from what's really going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question, though, that came up for me, I want to ask everybody, where in our lives are we stuck by how something was in the past, that we're still operating from that now? That's the question. Because that's where that's where the work is. So anybody want to say, where are you stuck because of something that happened to you in the past, around love, around money, around relationships, around your children, around, they going on vacations? Like right now, I am not ever getting on Spirit Airline. I'm done with them.
And then there may be a time when that's the only flight, and you'll have to deal with that.
It may be, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm creating that in my future, huh?
Yeah, I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm complete, right?
Now.
Yeah, I'm complete. Because if you really look at like the cheaper flights, by the time they add on all their additions, you don't pay the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, because now even Spirit wants you to pay for a carry-on. Like, okay, y'all for real right now. Oh, and if you want to pick your seat, you got to pay for that too. Right? So it's like, okay, really? So by the time you do all that, you done bought the same ticket. So anybody want to share about a place where they see they're stuck? Okay, y'all, go ahead.
Okay, let me explain. I do a lot for the company and here at home. And God told me that, he said, you don't trust me to take care of them here or at the shop. You don't trust me to do that. And I know it has something to do with what happened to me in the past, where I think that God gave me reason not to trust him. And it's still going on with me to this day. I'm working on it. God and I are talking about it, because I gotta let that go. I gotta get that out of me.
Can I ask you a question, Star? Where are you in the birth order of your siblings?
I am number 4.
Oh, so so you're almost like not quite the middle, but still the middle, like, you know what I mean? 4.
Yeah, because her twin came out of 15 minutes earlier. So she's right there.
Oh, she is in the middle. Okay, all right. Yeah. Because you and your twin, y'all go together. So you are in the middle. Tell you something, that middle child, we don't think we get no love from nowhere. And we really get a lot of love, but how it occurs for us is that we're not really getting the love that we deserve.
Well, see, my thing was leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the womb, God betrayed me. That's the way I saw it.
Oh, by
Because there
putting your
was
brother
three
by putting your brother in there with you, taking up all the room.
no, there was three of us.
Oh, you really? Oh, y'all was fighting for air.
And and the third one didn't make it. And so I didn't know till I was grown in my 30s that I was grieving for her. I didn't know that. I didn't know. And so that's one reason why Sheila and I didn't see the same thing in what my mother was going through because of what I've been through and what she'd been through. Everybody goes through something different, not just in this lifetime, but the past lives.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, in the past life, we all were men anyway. So
that's one reason why we can't judge, because who you are, I probably was like, if you were a wife beater or something, I might have been that in the past life. So how am I going to judge you?
Yeah.
How am I going to do
I get it. I totally get that. Period. In game. Anybody else want to share some place where they really stuck? It's a time you could be free. Free your mind.
Nobody listens to me.
Oh, yeah. That's one to overcome.
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
why I'm nothing. Or if I do, it's like, I don't know. I just gotta know. No, I gotta be sure you're gonna listen before I say something.
okay. Okay. I can get that, Tecrecia. Okay. So like the place to get to work to free yourself. Because you have to start to really look at your beliefs and ways of being. Right? Your beliefs and ways of being. Right? So Mama had, I don't know why. Okay, listen, boo. I don't know why you writing all that stuff in the Because girl, you better come on here and say what you gotta say. I'm doing all I can do to be here, okay? Do you understand me what I'm saying? No, I'll be on the struggle bus to be up this early. And now you want me to read too? Girl, come say what you gotta say. She's saying a lot of stuff. Mama Hat, what you trying to say, boo?
Nope, not that word. I'm going to say.
Okay, good.
I
Well,
was
I'm
just
saying you
asking.
I'm saying trying because you down there trying to put something in, but it ain't
No,
getting.
I'm going to
Okay,
say
now put
what
it
I'm
in.
going to say.
Okay, good. Well, go on and say it then. Because I can't say it for you today, boo.
Now, I was just asking Coach T if she listened to herself. Sometimes, that outside is maybe happens inside. I was just asking, because we make, we have things that we, put in place or want to do or desire to do. And, is the self listening, we'll speak, but do we have the meeting with all the cells to say, okay, are all aspects of me listening to me? That's why I asked that question. And she answered and said, yeah.
Okay. T, you got on makeup this morning? Oh, you look like you got makeup. Okay. So that's an area, it's an area where you can actually start to take some examination. Nobody listens to me, right? Okay. Anybody else got a place where the little gremlins all around your feet keeping you from going forward in something that you really committed to?
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Who was that?
Yeah, me.
Oh, okay. Girl, you scared me. Okay, maybe I need to perk up. Okay, what? What's yours?
Events.
Okay.
These 2 weeks.
Okay.
Tickets not sold, enough tickets.
How many tickets? I'm sorry. Okay. How many tickets sold so far?
I don't know the account, but it's not that many. They're starting to come in. So what I'm doing, well,
Okay, so let me just say something. You in Detroit, all the event planners, we're gonna have to train the people because they come at the last minute.
I know.
They all go, yeah, they come in at the last minute.
I know, and I see the momentum. picking up and stuff.
Yeah.
And but the bottom line, it's not the bottom line, but the bottom line in the past has been that it's my bottom line is who I had to pay.
Yes.
And not only who I have to pay, but if I don't have it, who do I have to go to and impact them again to help me out? And for this one, it's a little tougher because I got all of y'all around me.
Yeah.
I have all these people around me, and I'm still dealing with that same thing. And so
what's the same thing that you're dealing with?
The ticket's not moving.
Okay.
Like the ticket's not moving. It's the thing, but the impact of that and where I am in my part in that, and just getting that breakthrough that I am determined that things are going to be taken care of by that time. You know, by the time everything is due, that it will be there. I mean, God has told me that when he said about the dropping of the price and stuff and butts in the seats and stuff. Yeah, but in that there is still that I have to keep bringing myself back to that. God said it's going to be taken care of, and so forth. But I have to keep bringing it back.
Yeah, that's where you got to build your muscle.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to keep coming back to. Okay, you live in a one and done world. You look like you live in a world called I said and it's done. And okay, and if it's done, if this is the part, and if it's not done, you go, what happened? Right? And it's really the continuing exercise of the muscle. You got to shut down, like, you know how when you start talking about it, you get a little nervous and like you're emotional. You got to be like, no to that. No. And read that damn intention. Oh, not the damn intention. Read that intention every day, because it'll prop you up. So you're not keeping yourself centered and propped up on what you need to stay centered on. Does that make sense? Okay, so you got to keep yourself propped up, because I don't care what it say, thy will be done. Oh, it's scary right now. I know ticket sold up. Okay, but that's cool and everything, but thy will be done. Right? And it's like you don't even have to keep because if your intention is right in front of you, you stay focused on the intention. I don't care what the rest of your brain is saying.
Okay.
Okay, you don't care what the rest of your brain is saying. You got to stand on the rock of what God already told you is so.
Yeah.
And that's the muscle that you're building. When you're going to a new level and you're taking on something to the next point, you got to work that muscle. It's not going to be, because basically what's happening is just what it's saying in here. You're carrying how it was in the past into what it is now, and that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's not what's going on. So that is it for you, and you got to keep telling yourself that's not what's going on. That's the past.
Yeah, I tell myself that, but it keep coming back, and I have to keep.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Now let me give you the piece I really got from our conversation last night, because I have it around. It's around, let me see how I can articulate it to fit this situation. I have it around like forgiveness. If you do something to me and I have to, like I'm really dealing with, ain't nobody out there, it's all me. Okay, fine. But now we don't have a breach in our relationship. Okay, my job is to go back. If I'm triggered, see where I'm triggered, forgive myself, forgive them, forgive myself for thinking that. I do that whole process. But the one piece I've been missing is I don't close the door on creating that ever again. That's why I keep coming back. It's mind blowing. I so love it. You got to close the door because it's only a declaration.
Yes.
And when you declare, no, that's not what's happening now, that is complete from the past. And I'm never going to do that again or think that again. And I'm closing the door on that.
Okay.
That's where you got to go with that. Right. And I really got that last night because, like I'm dealing with some things, you know, people let the smooth taste fool them. I ain't no punk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I be laughing and joking, having a good time and doing my thing. But if you get wrong with me, I can't get with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get with you, now you want to be mad at me? Oh no, how'd that go? And so, and also a part of who I am is, okay, we had that breach. And so this is the part I'm gonna get clear for myself. If, you know, all I'm supposed to do is heal and forgive, be and see only God. But however, I think that there's a restoration of the relationship, a completion of what happened needs to occur.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Because if I don't do that, I'm not really clear that we won't have that breach between us again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if we don't say something to complete, because if you go keep being that way, that don't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be clear about that with people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's the part I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that helps you, Lena Dooney.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, Mama Hat, go ahead, boo.
Okay. So I'm seeing, Queen addressing this issue is similar to like yesterday with your mouth. You see where you are now. We're working on the healing part and the restoration, and we go back and think about what's happened in the past. Or with me, I just responded that a lot of times when we got a brand new situation, but we keep bringing this one, back into it because there's another thing. We keep thinking about how it went and how it was and how it has been. And so when do we get to make a new thing without all the old stuff that comes into it? Well, that's why the self-reflection and sitting in the mirror and talking with it. I remember when I learned about human design, Adrian explained that as a projector, I'm supposed to wait to be invited to things and not insert myself. So once I started doing that and letting people, ask me to come, it works out a little bit different for me. And then I'm better prepared because it's like, it's like Haru teaching me. He said, "Hey, sometimes you got to wait for people to ask you for help. Sometimes we want to help people and they didn't ask for help. And so they closed off about it, So then you feel like, dang, I shouldn't have said nothing. But then, when they ask, then you can plant that seed or just give them that suggestion and they can have it on the shelf. So if they need it, they can go, you know what? Blah, 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 shared this with me. Or maybe even if it'll be somebody else that'll come along and make the suggestion and they'll go, oh, so that's how I've learned to work through it. Or coming downstairs in my room and screaming on the wall and writing on the wall. And that helped me, I wanted to paint. So the walls got painted, so it's working through and working with what we've experienced, and then sitting down with that and putting it in perspective, like who inside of me is feeling like this from the last time, or knowing that the energy of the divine order is that the people that are supposed to be there are going to be there. It's just, I think a lot of this apprehension to do things, planned events, is that life keeps lifing, but we can't stop being who we are. The world is doing what it's doing. Like Reverend Omani said, we ain't got to be worried about that. We still got to do what we supposed. No matter what's going on outside, we still have our mission to complete. No matter what, that's our path, And so that's what keeps me, I don't know.
Okay. All right, that's good. That's good. Anybody else want to share? We are done for today. So anybody the last comments? Was this worth y'all while to be here and listen to this today? Did y'all get something out of it? Okay, Miss Lolly, what you get? You shaking your head. Yeah, I got something, Evelyn. What you get, Lolly?
This from the little movie and the conversation, I got so much out of it. I'm supposed to be doing something else. I was like, I gotta stay tuned in. But even within the movie, I was just able to take so much from that. It was a point where I think it was talking about the arrogance of like how we see God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like sometimes we take advantage of the fact that God might be that little ant that walks across our foot. You know what I'm saying?
Post Spider, he did now. Sorry. Hope come back as a cat next time, okay?
But yeah, you know, and then even we're talking about the little people, and I really liked how they animated that, because it really showed like more of a cartoon example of how we are really acting in these moments, which I thought was interesting. And then even talking about what people have been, you know, kind of stuck with and not being able to get past. That was empowering just to hear that, you know, we're acknowledging that and that we're finding ways to change our thinking, which is so huge. Oh, that brings me back to, I also just wanted to say, in the beginning, towards the beginning with the people in DC and the death rate or whatever went down 25% because of the meditation consistently.
Yeah.
That just shows the impact that we have. And just that even if we're meditating, that vibration that we carry when we go to the store after that meditation, talk to our neighbor, that all bounces off of every single person and it shifts the entire environment. So like that goes back to what we just started talking about. It's like shifting that environment in our heads about how we're thinking about things, because we're going to be able to impact all the right people. Just like Mama Het was saying for the event, whoever's supposed to be there will be there. But yes, we should continue, and I definitely should continue to push it even more and share even more. But that's it.
Okay, good. Thank you. That was great. Awesome. Anybody else? Ebony already put in the chat. She loved it. Mama Het, thanks for coming through. Bridget, are you over there working while you listening? Because that table look real pretty. I just need some fruit and vegetables on
it. I am over here working while I'm listening and taking notes. I was on a call and stopped listening to the person who I was supposed to be listening to and was making Sorry, I had to say, can I call you back? I'm so sorry. I'll call you back in 30 minutes. Because I got so much out of this, and it's wow. The first thing that I wrote is you got to be on the court to play.
Oh, that's the best one, right? You are out of bounds. If you're not on the court, you are out of bounds. I'm sitting on the stand. That's perfect.
Come into the court.
Yes, you gotta be on the court, which means if you're on the court, you have to mentally be on the court. Your body can't be on the court and your mind somewhere else. You have to be on the court, and there are unending possibilities when you are on the court.
Yep.
It's, you know, and I kept looking at when they were playing basketball, as they were, because I had to go back in my mind. When you're playing on the court, if you're shooting a basketball, you can't shoot the ball and be going, I'm not going to make this shot. I'm not going to, because you will never make it.
The shot. That's right.
But if you're on the court and you're constantly saying, I'm going to make this shot. I'm a sports fan.
Yeah.
So I'm a big football fan.
Yeah.
No quarterback takes the field and says, all right, we're going to lose this game. So we're going to come out there and we're going to play for a couple hours and we're going to get drugged up and down the field by some 300-pound men. You're going to need a soak at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, you're going to be good and sore and be good and lost. No, they go into every single game with, this is our game. This is our house. We're kicking ass and taking names. And we all leave and go to dinner. That has to be your mindset of when you take the court, when you take the field of life, play full out and play hard.
Yep.
And my other choice. It's the choice you make.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to you. Which way you're gonna go? Yep.
Oh, I got so many notes. Yes, I got a lot out of here, and I will put food on that table just for you, Rev.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Boo. Alita, I see you that came to the phone. What you got? I know you got one thing. Then we go because we overtime today. Anything you want to say, Alita? Oh, she got it. She got her thumb up. Okay, got it. She's like, it was good for her. She about to go do her day. Oh, you don't, we can't hear you. Okay, there you go.
Okay, this was great. I had forgotten about this movie, but you know, no matter how many times you look at it, you're always going to pick something else up.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, yeah, I was trying to think of what I could share, but you know, I'm multitasking. And so I don't always have my full attention like I should, but I apologize for that. But I do try to get on here.
Okay, good. Thank you for being here. Thank you. It makes a difference, okay?
All right, hon.
All right, keep showing up, y'all. It was a good class today. We only got a little bit to go, but I want all of it. So we'll just have a little bit next Thursday. And then I have to ask Holy Spirit what else he want me to talk about. But then I want y'all to start like I'll ask you again next week, like what y'all want to talk about, because there's no need of me laying something on y'all that's not of interest to y'all. So let me know. And my world is the world of wealth consciousness and spirituality and, you know, different techniques and all of that. So that's the stuff I like to do. So anything you want to know in that arena, I'm up for it. We could play with some cards. We could do some individual readings. That'll be fun.
I'd like
Yeah, that was great.
meet some of your powerful influencers of your life to come on and be a guest with us. Share your life with us.
You know what though? It's like so funny because a lot of y'all have brought up my people already on here. And then the other thing is I had to really been looking at, you know, Sheila, for real. I've been hanging out with God. I got to a point where my slate got clean and it was just like, God was like, I just want you to hang out with me. Not over here, over there. I got set aside. I want you to be with me. And so that's when I really looked like, oh, I wish somebody could do it today. But it's like, no, God was like, no, be with me. And it was that question that I had gotten the other day. What is it? I had read it to you guys. What is the thing? What do you love enough to overcome any obstacle to obtain it? And when I really saw that what it is that I love that I've never admitted that I love that much, and that's seeking God and the whole world of being able to do what God says and how to implement that. And that's what I've been doing since 2007, like for real. I ain't been hanging out with nobody or no influencers. And now I'm at the point where I'm ready. Like the conference for me is the part that I'm going to do about visioning. That's where I got it. I got my vision when it asked what's the God's highest vision and version of me that he has. I saw myself on a stage with a room full of people and my eyes popped open because I was like, who are them people and where'd they come from? And what am I doing on stage with them? That was my question. Right. And so now I kept walking and I walked right into it. You understand? So it's like God has been preparing me and still preparing me for me following him, my highest consciousness, my all in all, the universe of the ultimate, you know, and that's what I'm following. So I had to put the real capital I influencer first. And that's what I've been doing. I've been putting the capital I influencer first. And it's taken me this long to get there. That's to come when I go, how do you teach people wealth consciousness when it is really a real study? It's a real study because you got to clear all the beliefs and how we've been standing and how we've been walking. You got to be willing to clear the slate, okay, and create new building blocks because our programming is so strong.
Programming. Ooh.
Yeah, and the indoctrination is so strong. So that
Very.
you know, and as I like when I put my picture out there and start on my Facebook page promoting it, like the people in my life that I haven't talked to or seen in so long, they all like hit. I'm like, oh, here go my people, you know. But a lot of the people who I really hang out with, like Tower Green, what's that child's name? Danielle is in touch. in pockets of the people that I play with. Shanieri is one of my influencers. Danielle brought her. Tara Green. I don't know who brought Tara, but Razia is one of my people.
Hasn't come on yet.
Oh, she didn't come on? I saw her promoted one day.
Yeah, she was, but no, she hasn't come on.
Yeah, so like that. So, but as I get out into the world more, then I'll invite more. You know what I mean? Because I don't see any right now. Because I've been asking the same question. Even like for the day, I'm like, oh, I could take a day off. I want to sleep in so bad. And then
you get to sleep in, boo.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said it doesn't mean you get to sleep in. You still
Oh no, yeah, but I wanted to. So yeah, right. But I was like, oh my God, right? But I got up, I was here early, you know what I mean? I was ready to go. So it's like, okay. I'm pushing towards something and it'll open up so we can all see what it is, because it's a blossoming going on here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm here because like in support of community. That's what has me really be here, like the purpose.
And I want, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
So I just want to throw this in before we leave, is that in where I am in the walk, in my walk on this earth, is that as a leader, because I brought up about, the money and all that kind of stuff, but as a leader, I get to tap into each one of those who are walking with me, are following, and wherever those things, that is me. I have to see that. That is me as well. And so I'm in leadership training on if a person is not engaged, enrolled, excited, doing anything, where is that happening for me in my life? Where is it that they don't see it, or they don't get that from me? Not in a, I see you doing this, not that, but they get the spirit of it. And so that I can lead more people, I can do more and more. And so I get to have those breakthroughs of empowering others to get it done, to get it with grace and joy and any of the ups and downs, that we are able to walk through that and be successful in whatever endeavor any one of us is is working on.
Okay.
So as a leader, so like I said, it's more than just about the money and stuff. It is okay, if you have people, not saying that this is what's happening, but if you have people who are lazy, let's say, or they are doubtful and stuff, but they've been put on your court. Like the young boy said, it's my court. Come on. You can put stuff down. It ain't going nowhere because it's my court. You see. So I just wanted to share that as a leader, and each of us are leaders. Like Rev said, she got a whole class of leaders, and what comes with that, and taking everybody to the next level. And also, this is the last thing I'm gonna say, is that Rev has talked, and I've heard this many times, about the influence of the 5 people that are around you. I'm with you every day, 5 days a week. So I'm one that don't want to leave nobody, because I like my friends, but my friends got to come on up.
Girl,
it will happen.
Girl,
preach.
That's real. That's real. That's really real. See, listen, girl, that is so real. That is the realest of real. You see all this white hair I got? I'm one of them people who got more life behind me than I have ahead of me. So I ain't got time to play with you like that right now. Right, and not mad at you, but if you come in, you got to come on.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, because I'm marching toward the mark right now, and I'm unstoppable about it. And I'm someone who will do the work. I do my internal work, period. It's first and foremost.
Yep.
So yeah. So so Sheila, next week I'll do this piece. I'll set it up. We'll finish listening to the story, but there's this book about leadership that I have, and it talks about being a leader who develop leaders. So we'll do some of that. We'll have a conversation and discussion about that. So because, you know, let me see, like Ebony is one of those persons. She's a leader causing leaders. You're a leader causing leaders. Lolly is a leader causing leaders. And what they're right? They're out in the community causing people to rise up. So you got to have that quality and that ability, but you got to also know how to train them to be the leader, because most people underneath it all, they don't want to be the leader, because the leader has to put up with a lot to be the leader. So yeah, we can really talk about that. That'll be great, really great. Right? Because we all right here is like, we might as well do the work to train ourselves.
Where's the book?
There's this, oh, okay. It's called Launching a Leadership Revolution. Right? Yeah. Launching a Leadership. It's by two guys, Chris Brady and Orrin Woodward.
Owen?
Orrin, Orrin, Orrin Woodward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Great show. Great class. Great movie. Great workout. Great confessions. Great breakthroughs today.
It was good, right? Hey, what's that, Lolly, on there? On that mannequin?
Oh, the shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, this is my shirt. This says, I want to see your smile.
You selling those?
I have to get more printed, but yeah.
Oh.
Put it up so we can see it. I'm gonna make you big so we can see it.
Hold on, let's see.
Oh,
girl, you know you need to print some of them.
Oh, I love it.
Thank
you.
Somebody that can print them for you.
We already got the
somebody.
printer.
That's what I'm talking about, Ebony.
We got somebody.
That's
Girl,
true.
how much they cost if you print them?
20.
Girl, okay.
Ebony say, I know somebody.
Okay, good. Wait a minute, Ebony, like she could get it done for 17. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm putting in my order now. Extra large, please. Want me to send you the money? What the hell?
Extra large.
Okay. Shut up, Star. Nobody asked for your opinion. Star, because I took Star's Elizabeth shirt.
You sure did.
That's because she like extra large for your big butt.
I thought it was on loan and she decided to keep it.
Yeah, I was like, it fit me good. Okay, Lolly, you got room on your plate for that shirt or no?
You know, I can make some room.
Okay, could you make some room? Want me to send you my money?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. What's your Cash App thing?
The Lolly Mariah. I'll put it in here. It's
okay,
just
good.
funny.
I know. That's all I can do. I just need Lolly Mariah. I'll take that and get it. I'm sorry, it caught my eye from way over there in the corner. It was
You're
like, look
the
at
second
me,
person
look at me.
to say that this week, though, and I just feel like.
Wait a minute, what'd you say?
I don't know. It's crazy because I've had them for a while, like for some years, and then like it just kind of died down, and then all of a sudden, like this week, people keep talking about the shirt.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. So yeah, because I saw it in the corner. I'm like, we about to go, and I was like, hey, what's that? All beautiful and oh girl, wouldn't that look good with some black jeans? Shit,
Yeah.
that'd be looking cute as heck.
And then all you have to do is to send Ebony, if you're going to go that route, to go send Ebony the artwork. And once she has the art, then people come make an order and charge at least $20. Like
right now, wait a minute, the girl is in shock. Look at her. She like, what the hell? I got orders. She in shock. She like, what the hell? Wait a minute.
I said, just make an order. She said, yeah. That means time. That means I got to do this. I got to find the doggone thing. I got to.
Oh my God, did you see her face? She's like, how the hell I get another project? That's funny. But Lolly, this is what I wanted to tell you.
You almost done.
When you had that conversation about you had so much on your plate, it's not so much all the time about taking something off your plate. It's about getting you a platter rather than a plate. That's what the deal is. The universe is asking you to go bigger, not smaller. Right? So instead of asking you to make you got a plate, well, now get a platter.
Yeah. Well, she almost done with school though. It's almost over, Lolly. You almost done, baby.
Yeah. And
May
so
20th.
just
Oh, she got something else already taking that place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's trying to get smaller.
I'm the same way. This is over at this time, then I'll start this. I might give myself a week. And then I'm off into the next thing.
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to say to you, Lolly, and you too, it's got to bring more joy to what you're doing every day. Put joy in, and you'll actually get energy to do it. It's the joy that's missing. I'm telling y'all. For real. Because, Sheila, you got, and what about this and all and that and that. What about? There's no joy in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how come my spirit had me get up today. It's like, okay, Sheila, put joy on it. We couldn't even hear it. That's an indication of something. It was all broke up. We couldn't really hear it at first. That's an indication of something.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get that?
It's static joy. Sometimes it's there, and
that's how
sometimes it's not.
That's how our joy is, though. That's how our joy is right now. Right. That's just how our joy is. So yeah. Right. He's not too joyful. Give yourself a hug. Oh my God, you guys. Give yourself a big hug.
A big hug. And sprinkle steadiness. Sprinkle joy. Peace.
Awesome.
And
well, thank you.
And
thank you.
Rising up, rise up, grand rising. I remember the spirit was talking about grand rising. It's not just that we get up in the morning, it's the grand rising that we do.
Oh, yes, I love it. Thank you, guys.
Spirit first.
Yeah.
We put spirit first. The rising just brings us up.
Yeah. I know it's going to be a good show though, because I came in on 10. I'm like, dang, I'm on 10 already. I said Grand Rising. It was like 10. I was like, okay, here we go. Bring more joy to it. And joy will come to you more. Woo, I love you guys. Oh yeah, go find it. Joy, Mississippi Gospel Choir. They jamming.
MC, yeah.
They jamming. All right, baby. Love y'all.
Love you.
See you tomorrow. Okay, bye.
I have a wonderful guest tomorrow.